Hello my lovelies, welcome to my little cottage by the sea, the place where I love to stitch and craft my way to a vintage inspired and sustainable lifestyle. I have recently been treasure hunting, so in today's video I wanted to share a bit of a thrift haul with you, and also I wanted to share the ultimate second-hand find. Before I dive in to share these treasures that I have found whilst on my adventuring here in East Sussex, I just wanted to say I'm very sorry there wasn't a video last week. The reason for which will become very apparent when I share my ultimate second-hand find with you later in this video, and I'm sure that you will be understanding at my tardiness in uploading a video. It's a rather overcast day here in Hastings, but I have some wonderful treasures to show you. So the last week has been half term here in Blighty, and I spent Tuesday in Brighton with my kiddo, which is where they live, and we visited the museum and saw the Lee Miller exhibition, which was small but very moving. Both of us were slightly tearful at the end. And then we went around charity shops and all those lovely vintagey shops that you have in Brighton, and I found a couple of things there. And then on Thursday, I went to Lewes with a very dear friend of mine to see the Bloomsbury exhibition, and we went into all the antique shops and vintage shops and thrift shops that we could find. So most of these things are from those expeditions, and then I've got a couple of vintage treasures to show you. And then of course my final thing, which is the thing that I am the happiest about. The first couple of things I found in Oxfam, which is a charity shop here in England, and there's probably branches all around the world because it is a global charity, and it's one of my favourite charity shops actually. And I found this brand new with tags Zara blazer, and I wouldn't buy Zara from Zara, or I don't really go into high street shops. Those of you who spend time here know that. But this was a really fabulous find, I thought. A lovely shade of green, which I'm trying to add into my wardrobe. I think it was about £8, not terribly much, brand new, and fits. And what I like about it actually is it's quite a sort of 40s shape. It reminded me of that Bieber doing 40s tailoring look, and I'm really very pleased with it. I haven't had much of a chance to style this up or try it on with lots of things, but I'm thinking very much about wearing it with black and dark florals, with the green picking out the green of the greenery and dark florals. So that's my idea, and maybe wearing little brooches like this, or a pocket scarf, a pocket hanky or something could go in there, or actually not, it's a false pocket, so that scuppers that one. The other thing I found in the Oxfam was this pattern, Butterick B5951 here, and I thought it was very 1940s, 1930s, 1940s. There are three options. I really like this version here, the bodice, but with this skirt, so I am looking for some fabric now. I'm trying to be very intentional with my making, and I've really slowed down with my sewing. I have some amazing sewing videos on the way, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. The next couple of things I got in Brighton, they're not actually thrifted or second-hand, but I just thought I'd share them with you because they're so pretty. And the first thing, these really pretty spoons that I got from Tiger. I really like getting nice things for my kitchen, for my spice rack, lovely little jars and pretty packaging, and I thought these spoons would be perfect for spooning out spices. I've really fallen back in love with cooking, and finding that if I have lovely things to use in my kitchen, I feel even more inspired and enjoy the experience even more. So I got those, and I think they were about £4 for the pair. And then in a really fabulous spice shop, I got this individual spice grinder. So you put the spices in there, your whole spices, and then grind away, and then they're in the bottom there, and you add them to your food. So I'm absolutely thrilled with these. I'm just sort of looking at them. I haven't used this yet, but I just think it's a really lovely, pretty little bit of treasure for my kitchen. The next few treasures are from Lewes and from various antique centres there. The first thing I found is this really gorgeous little brocade bag with a silver filigree clasp and a very delicate little chain. And then when I opened it, inside, Schiaparelli Shocking Pink. So very, very in love. And it even has the little mirror, or a little mirror. I'm not sure that was the original that came with it. And I'm assuming that it's probably 30s by the sort of proportions of it and the delicacy of the strap, but it could actually be 50s. I'm not entirely sure. If you have an idea of when this might be dated from, do let me know. But I just think it's ever so pretty and just the loveliest of colours. And I think it was about £5, so really, really very reasonably priced. And then from the same flea market in Lewes, I found this really pretty scarf here, which not entirely sure how old it is, a little bit of a wounded bird. This was only a few pounds as well, but ever so pretty, and just love the way actually. And when you see this other find that I found, the colours were all very thematic and very of Bloomsbury and Charleston, and that was where I was in Lewes to see the exhibition. And I have to say a very big thank you to my lovely friend Caroline, who I went with, who actually bought these as a little gift for me, which was incredibly generous of her and really not necessary, but very, very much cherished. Even more so because she was kind enough to treat me to these two lovely treasures. The last thing that I found in Lewes in a shop called May's Antiques is this 1930s tea dress. It's a bit of a wounded bird, there is some staining, but I picked it up because on the inside it's got a very interesting construction, and I actually think that if I can clean it a bit, I will actually be able to resize it, which is something that I'm going to be sharing on Patreon. But I just really love all the details on this and the colour of it and the print. One of the things that I'm looking at with Tara Deighton Atelier is designing some of my own fabrics and reproducing some fabrics that I find. So that's why I wanted to get this dress, and also just to copy the pattern. I really, really love these panels in this, and once it's repaired and possibly resized, I might even be able to wear it. But if not, it's a wonderful reference piece for my archive. Now, sustainability is a massive thing for me, always has been, and I have talked about this in previous videos. But moving forward, I want to be even more sustainable, which is sort of informing all of my sewing and how I am shopping. And I'm spending a lot of time on Vinted, as well as going to charity shops and fairs and pop-ups and all sorts of places where you find vintage treasure. But also the idea of secondhand, and it doesn't necessarily have to be vintage, but by buying secondhand, you're helping with sort of circularity and stopping things going to landfill. Anyway, I've been enjoying Vinted very much, so I wanted to show you a few finds that I found from my trawling on there. First up are these leopard print sort of repro-ish shoes from the brand Poetic License. It does quite ornate, in-your-face shoes, but all with a kind of vintage nod to the 30s and 40s. And these are just rather wild, rather fun, but not too high actually, because I'm not very good at walking in high heels. And there's lots of fabulous details on them. They are leather, and I think they cost about £7, so pretty good going, almost brand new, and really, really looking forward to styling these up and wearing these, because leopard print is a neutral, right? Then I got another pair of Poetic License shoes, and actually these were a funny find because a long time ago I had a pair of these shoes in a size 7 and they were too big and I couldn't wear them. And then I found them when I was buying those leopard print ones. I found these just black They're really fabulous. They've got this sort of scallopy detail, this very unusual shaped heel. I'm not sure I can even sort of show you in as much detail. They're shiny on the inside and they just do up, and they've got this really lovely little heart doodad, whatchamacallit, thingy on the end of the ribbon, and they're just really, really beautiful, and they're my size. And I think these were about £8 as well. The 2 pairs of shoes plus postage came to just under £25. So I'm so pleased to get these again, because I sold them because they didn't fit me and I always regretted it. Last but not least Vinted find is this Celia Birtwell for Next sort of peasant-y style maxi dress. It's still a bit damp because it's just arrived and I've washed it. It's in a really lovely viscose fabric, very heavy, and I haven't actually even tried it on. I'm really obsessed with Celia Birtwell and Ozzy Clark, and also with Bieber and that sort of 70s, late 60s, early 70s, doing 30s, 40s style. Films like Cabaret and so on are my sweet spot. And I saw that she'd done this collaboration with the high street store Next in England. I don't really buy on the high street, so when I realised that you could look up things like this on Vinted, it just opened up a whole new world for me. So I'm being very specific about my purchases, I'm being very specific about my making, and I'm feeling really excited to get some styling videos together and to play dress up again with all of these lovely treasures. And now to my ultimate second-hand find, and I'm using the word second-hand in a very ironical sense, because this find is not really second-hand, although really he is, and it's a very, very special introduction that I want to make to you now. If I can find wherever he's gone, you may have been able to hear him in the background. So I would like to take a moment to introduce you to my new fur baby, who's not going to want to stay here particularly, Ghost. And he is secondhand, although he's not secondhand. He is from a cat centre. He was found as a stray. At the beginning of the year, when I was chatting and sharing what was in store for 2024, I did say that a fur baby was very much needed and on the cards for me, and I was asking the universe for a furry companion. And I even had a vision board, and I had these white fluffy cats on the vision board, and I'd been finding some cats along the way, ones that I felt were really suitable for me, and for one reason or another it didn't quite work out. But this one particular cat centre based near me in Eastbourne, I'd already gone through all the paperwork and had the house check and everything was in place, but obviously with certain cats lots of people apply for them and you're in a sort of queue, and if the person before you takes the cat then you lose out. So it was becoming quite depressing really, but I saw Ghost come up and I was the first in line, and that was the Tuesday, and I went and picked him up on the Friday, and I have just been in heaven absolutely ever since, because he has just totally made me fall in love with him. So for the last couple of weeks I've been very much getting him settled. He is very playful. Oh, he's trying to play with things here. He is hearing impaired, and I thought that it might take quite a lot of time to get him settled, but he literally walked in to my little cottage by the sea, made himself at home. He's the most cuddly, snuggly, inquisitive, chatty little fella that you can possibly wish for. After losing Loki, I almost couldn't bear the thought of having another cat, and then I finally came round to it, and I realised that I needed something very specific, and I would know him when I saw him or her, and Ghost has been very much that for me. He's filled a very big hole that was in my heart after Loki sadly went to fur baby heaven, and I am just really looking forward to spending time with him. He's in everything and on everything, so it's been really getting in the way. I'm very happy for it to get in the way, by the way. So I'm not able to get things done quite as quickly, and also it's that thing, isn't it, that once your cat sits on you, no matter how much you might want to use the powder room, you cannot possibly get up. I hope you've enjoyed sharing this mini, not so mini actually, thrift haul with me, and have enjoyed meeting my ultimate secondhand find, my beautiful new fur baby Ghost, who I'm sure you'll be seeing quite a lot more of over the coming weeks and months if you want to stick around and spend time with me here in Hastings, Old Town, in my little cottage by the sea. If you haven't already subscribed, then I'd absolutely love it if you did. Me and Ghost would really love to welcome you into our cottage by the sea for lots of sewing and thrifty, vintage inspired goodness. I'm working on a rather fabulous video right now, which will be with you next week, based off of a film that I recently saw and fell in love with. I'm not going to give any spoilers, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, my lovelies, you're keeping safe and well from me and Ghost. Till next time, bye.